Hey everyone, welcome to The Blitz. My name is Nathaniel Shook. I am joined with the bro himself, Dr. Phil, if you know him, Phil, you name it. But I have the coach of Cinnabar, Phillip Shook, here with me today for The Blitz.
What's up, guys?
I cannot wait. We're going to talk some Mad Smack. We're going to dive deep into some of these matches actually coming up. Week 1, right? Starting in about, 3 days?
Yeah.
Dude, it's hitting it there.
Definitely, it snuck up on us. I feel like I wasn't really I was thinking about it, but I didn't realize how close it really was, you know?
Yeah, dude. And this is where trash talk begins, and I can't wait. So for those of you who don't know, I moved from Saffron City to Ecruteak City. Phillip is a returning coach for Cinnabar.
Let's go.
Trying to make another run for the playoffs and hopefully a championship as he finished third, right?
Tied for third, yep.
Tied for third place. I mean, he lost to the guy who would be champion, so essentially in my book, power ranking wise, he's third. And so he's looking to make another run for it. But today we got a great episode, relatively short, not a lot of movement in the Masters Battle League. But we're going to start off with the first one. I thought there was going to be more trades, but I was wrong. But there was only one trade that went through. It's between Pewter City and Ecruteak City. Pewter City is ditching their number 1 draft pick in Charizard.
Questionable.
Right? For the second to last, the round 8 pick in Ice Cube for Ecruteak City. Now, the drama here is that an 8th rounder is being traded for a 1st rounder. Am I correct in saying that, Phillip?
I mean, you are, but Charizard should have never been a first rounder to begin with.
I mean, I would agree with you on that one.
Charizard should have probably gone somewhere between 7, 8, 9.
Yeah.
Being realistically.
If you talk around the league, if you look at was it Eric Pastor? I know he's messing around with a little bait thing, but not happy about that trade. I'll make this case. So for those of you watching thinking this is the dumbest thing in the world, okay, what tier is Charizard in, Phillip? What tier is Charizard in?
I don't even know.
I will answer that
Not
for
RU,
you.
I just know that.
It's not. He borders between RU and NU. Okay? Now, the reason why he can't go any further than, I think, honestly, RU is because of his damage output at 109, I think, is his special attack.
Well,
or close to that.
Yeah.
Maybe it's 106. I don't know. And his move pool is kind of diverse. So I think anywhere below that is kind of messed. Okay? Ice Cube, to this day, is still OU. Still OU means overused because of his stupid ability and his physical damage output. This boy, not even looking at the stats because when we're just talking at this point, can belly drum, right? First turn, lose half his HP. But because he has Ice Face, his ability, so the big ice cube you see on your screen, right? Any physical attack doesn't hurt him.
It's like Mimikyu, kind of.
Absolutely.
So do special attacks still hurt him then?
There's the caveat. Special attacks still hurt him.
Okay.
So that's the only.
Know that.
That's the only downside. Most people think it's all attacks. It's not. It's just physical attacks. But
Interesting.
the change up here though is that when that Ice Face goes away, I think his speed is like 70 or 80 something. It shoots up to 130. So you have a +6 fully maxed attack or 4 times attack Ice Cube, Ice type at 130 base speed. So this dude's outspeeding Gengar, right? Who has access to a plethora of moves that can do a lot of damage, right? Even if they resist it. There's a lot of Pokemon that are dropping. And the reason why I gave up Ice Cube is because everything Ice Cube does, Darmanitan already does. So the need for 2 physical ice types is minimal. There's really no need unless I'm playing a gimmick where literally that checks somebody because of the speed tier. So my thought is give it away to someone who needs that offensive potency. Pick up something that's kind of a niche pick that I can mix up, throw into the mix that people aren't expecting for some oddities. I needed more special attackers, and boom, that was Charizard, right? What do you think, Phillip?
I mean, it's kind of, I don't know, it's kind of a weird trade, to be honest. Did you even really need I guess you didn't have a fire type. No, you do. You had Cinderace.
I have
So that's kind of
Cinderace.
odd. But also, he's got solar power, right, Charizard? Doesn't he?
He does have solar power.
So, I mean, you could pair that with Sunny Day, maybe on one of the two of them, and then you have Solar Beam too. I don't know. It's interesting. I'm not really sure how you're going to use Charizard. And then Lex, I mean, it's tough because her team had so many fire types, so I can understand why having an ice type would be nice. Switching out one of those fire types.
I will say it wasn't like a for sure trade where I said it and she's like, absolutely.
Yeah, I don't
It
really
really
know.
wasn't.
It's kind of like, it's weird because it's just, everything's weird because Charizard was a first round pick, I think.
Yeah, I think
When it shouldn't have been.
I think it kind of adds this kind of layer or like to it. I mean, if we're being honest, I think the best fire type right now in this league would be Cinderace, and then
Definitely.
followed shortly behind, I would say Arcanine. That's only because I use Arcanine. You could make a case for Colossal.
I'd say Rotom Heat.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. I would okay, yeah.
Cinderace, then Rotom Heat,
and then Arcanine.
Then I could say Arcanine's probably up there.
Colossal's good because of Steam Engine. So if he gets hit with a water move,
but
he
he's
speeds.
kinda-
But
I
it's
don't know.
if he gets touched with a
I
water
feel like
move.
he's not as consistent as those other ones we mentioned.
Yeah. Now the reason why I won't give away all my secrets for the amazing Pokemon that is Charizard, but against weather teams, this is a big deal, right? This is a big deal. Let me just run it down for you, because there's a set that I call point and click Charizard, right? Point and click Charizard doesn't care about accuracy, really doesn't care about anything else, and if you're under weather, we're game. Against Eric Dressler, Rain Team, click Hurricane, 100% hit. And even if it's resisted or just normal effectiveness, it's a lot of damage, dude. It's like 110, 120. It's up there.
For sure.
It's up there. And boom, like we're good. And against Michael's team, if he decides to go Ninetales, right? If he decides, I don't know if he will. I doubt he will. But if he decides to, not only does Orangutan learn Flare Blitz, but your boy's hitting and clicking Overheat with solar power like it's never been done before, right? You have teams that are just insanely they're going to be decimated by Overheat just alone, right? Mm-hmm. So you already have that, okay? Then if you're still under Sun, he can still learn Solar Beam, which they upped the damage to 200. So Solar Beam hits 200, it's 100%, and it's only a one-turn activation. Check it.
It says 120.
Oh, it's Solar Beam?
Yeah.
Oh, I was
gonna say, I was looking
at Explosion. My bad.
think so.
Sorry, I was looking at another
it's
move.
definitely 120.
My bad.
I was like, did I miss something?
Then, if you're having issues with Dragon types, it learns Dragon Pulse. And if all this is happening, right, it puts you in a situation where when that Charizard comes out, because of the fact that he's not looked at in the greatest of light in Draft League or just in Pokemon in general, you kind of stare at that Pokemon and you're like, the heck is this thing going to do? Because you don't even need to do point and click Charizard. Because he knows Heat Wave. He knows Incinerate. He knows Air Slash. Okay? He can learn Sunny Day and set up Sun for himself. There's so many things that Charizard can do. He can learn Dragon Dance. And he can be run physically. If you want to be that cheeky, you can do that with Charizard. And if you're looking at my team and what it needed, it was that versatility. It needed a strong, special fire hitter that I did not have, right? I could try.
You kind of had him in
Cinderace. Cinderace? Well, yeah, we have Pyro Ball. Well, that's physical.
Yeah, but
which is, I mean, it's 120 at 100. I think 90% accuracy. It's great. You also have Gardevoir who learns Mystic Fire. But if I'm looking for something that's going to change the course of the game, I think Charizard's one of those things. It's flying type, so ground types against Viridian City against Chris. Can't touch me unless you're running Mole Breaker. Not even that.
Be ready for Stealth Rocks though. That's all I gotta say.
Yeah, but
now you got.
But that's the beauty of it all.
I know you got heavy duty boots. I know.
No, not even that. If you run Cinderace with core change.
No, I'm aware.
Like, bro.
I'm just saying, you gotta be wary of your team because I mean, you got Darmanitan, which is ice. So
yeah, this is true. No, I'm not saying this.
Fire.
Right.
Now you got Charizard again, which is fire. You got Orbeetle. You got a lot of stuff that Rocks is good against. I
agree. I do agree. All in all, I don't think my team really changes in its overall effectiveness. You may argue that my team gets downgraded because of it. You could. You honestly could.
I think it's a pretty fair trade. I don't think it's.
Yeah, I think because of the fact that people will catch on that Ice Face only does physical stuff, I think that will kind of nullify a lot of it.
I would say personally that I think Charizard's slightly better than Ice Q. I realize.
Okay.
I realize the Ice Q thing. Here's the thing about Ice Q and OU and everything. The problem when you're on Showdown, you have access to everything, right? So you don't know what's going to show up, and Ice Q
rarely ever
takes
comes
people by
up.
surprise and just sweeps. Whereas this, okay, you see this person has it, so it's like, all right, plan for Ice Q, and it's a little easier.
Absolutely.
And it really is kind of a one-trick pony. It's the belly drum set with the.
Oh yeah,
you know
absolutely.
what I mean? Whereas Charizard's got a little bit more to work with, but I still don't think it's like. It's not crazy. It's not a game-breaking trade where the teams have totally changed how they work. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah. If anything, I think overall Lex's team is improved. Mine relatively stays the same. You can make a case that makes it worse because of Stealth Rocks, and because I have Cinderace. So what was the point of dropping an Ice type like Darmanitan, like an Ice Cube with Darmanitan, and then picking up a Fire type when I have Cinderace, right? But I think Cinderace has a couple of utility stuff that I think Charizard's able to kind of like ease it. Like, kind of ease the issue. Other than that, there's been no trades in the league. So it'll be interesting to see how Lex uses Ice Cube. It'll be interesting to see how I even incorporate Charizard into the mix, honestly. My first match against my old team, Saffron, who's got a lot of tanks, and Corviknight, Mandibuzz, Avalugg is an Obstagoon, like, even Corsola. So I got bigger fish. I got bigger dudes to really think about it. And I don't think Charizard really fits that mold. I think he might deal with Avalugg well. He might deal with Corviknight well. But aside from that, I think it's kind of a stupid pickup or a stupid mon to use in that. I mean, it could be. I mean, we could run Solar Beam and hope for a weird switch in with Dugtrio. But even still, I don't know if it's going to be very useful. The Solar Beam's kind of like a move you save for like a weather team, so you can slot it out with something else. After that, though, we had some free agency moves. Only one. I know there was talk for a lot of other free agencies, and we'll get to the rumor. But it is Goldenrod. So Eric Pash, the coach of Goldenrod FC, made a move to pick up Pyukumuku, which is a very, very bulky water type.
Yeah.
With a weird ability gimmick and a weird water type move that could really throw people for a loop. Phillip, care to explain Pyukumuku to everybody?
So it's got an ability called Inner Doubt. So if it gets fainted, it moves the user's. If this Pokemon is knocked out with a move, the move's user loses HP equal to the amount of damage inflicted on this Pokemon. So essentially, like, it's like counter, like the move counter, but like an effect that happens as an ability. So it's really annoying. So you could be like, oh, I'm in a good position. I'm just going to kill this thing. Oh, I'm dead. I just died all of a sudden.
Well, and I even looked at this. Like, we're not doing level 100 battles. We're doing level 50.
And it also gets access to, like, recover and, like, toxic and stuff. So it's just, like, it's pretty much the stall Pokemon that can inflict damage if it dies. So it's, like, you almost, like, don't want to kill it sometimes. But it's just, like, sitting there with all this defense and recover. But you're like, well, I have to kill it. So it's a weird situation.
You kind of want to like damage it, almost like false swipe.
You want to like get it down, but it's just tough. So,
this is interesting. So we all, me and Phil talked about this before we started recording. He dropped Weavile for Pyukumuku. Now, doesn't learn Pursuit. Pursuit's not in the game, and because we're using national decks, no like access to knockoff. So Weavile is subject to pretty much what?
Night Slash.
Yeah, Night Slash and Ice Shard, if anything, and or Ice will Crash. So, I mean, they're not bad, but given the fact that he's so frail and he has that dark type,
I can see why he did it. His team's really slow, so he's like, okay, I need something that's fast. But then I think he kind of reassessed and was like, I might as well just play into the bulk that I have and just go crazy with it and make a really bulky team.
Well, yeah. So. Again, I think it helps his synergy a lot more. I really do.
It's a weird thing. I'm honestly not really sure. I'm not sure about the move, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I think Innard's out. I mean, so this is my hunch. This is my hunch. With the ability innards out, the hope is that people who haven't put any investment in your HP stat one-shots this thing, which it's hard to one-shot, mind you. Innards out would be able to kind of delete that mon, especially during late game if you haven't really thought about what's going on. So let's use, because me and him talked about this, let's use the Dracozolt Pyukumuku conversation, right? Dracozolt, I don't think one-shots it. Gets close. Doesn't one-shot it. You recover. Not full HP, but enough to where he's about halfway to where next time Dracozolt hits it, innards out comes into play, goes for that same number value. And if you're talking late game stuff, that threat in Dracozolt's gone. Just gone. And so I think it helps when it's a weird, it's like Future Sight. That's how I view it, right? And I used Future Sight a lot with Slowbro last season, where you throw a Future Sight out, it throws people off for a brief second, and they're like thinking about, why do you use Future Sight? The heck? And then after the next 2 turns they forget about it, and then they get wrecked with it. They don't protect, they don't do any of that stuff, and it's like, oh, okay, I got hit with Future Sight and I'm dead. I think Pyukumuku's innards out thing is very similar to that, where if you're not paying attention, it's gonna catch you off guard. It's like Destiny Bond on ghost types. Like it's just, you don't expect it. It comes out. You've already clicked the move. You can't back out of it like Showdown. Like, you are stuck in that move. And that creates a lot of confusion entirely. And it's going to be, honestly, it'll just soak up hits. It will just soak up all hits. So if he doesn't want to bring certain mods, just slap that in there.
It's interesting. I'm not sure I was going to use it. I don't know. It's a weird pickup. But, I mean, he didn't drop anything crazy, I don't think, for it. So.
No, I don't think he did either. There is one move that Pyukumuku learns, which is Soak.
Just makes you water type.
It makes you water type.
So I'm not really sure. I'm not sure how you would use that, to be honest with you.
If you have access to Freeze Dry. Maybe.
But he's not really. No, he's got like terrible attack. I'm not really 100% sure about that.
I think it would help with certain mons to eliminate that stab bonus. That's the only thing I can really think about it.
So.
I don't.
Just to stay alive for longer.
Yeah,
be a more annoying staller.
Like, if you so for instance, like, you should not bring this to Eric Dressler, because you're essentially just going to power up anything that it touches underwater.
But really, he's just using it as a toxic staller.
And it could be good.
That weird ability.
And it could be good for, like, against Dracofish. Like, he's definitely not going to die.
Maybe I'm not
to Fish's Rend.
You'd be surprised at things that die to that thing.
It's just it's a funky mon. There's some
block,
gimmick to it,
which means if you use block on something, it can't switch out. So it's kind of like a move.
Yeah, I mean, if you think of it that way, where if you block something and you kind of have to attack it,
I don't know. Like I said, it's very weird.
Man,
but I think Eric's just trying to use new things. So
I don't really see. I don't know, man. It's a weird pickup. This is probably the weirdest one that I've seen. It learns Spite, so you lose HP. So he's doing Toxic Struggle set, where he spites you, toxics you, and blocks you in with Soak. So the damage output isn't even that bad. But that seems like a lot of investment for one Pokemon slot for a gimmick. I'd rather just do Perish Trap and just do it that way. But, Eric has never failed to deliver when it comes to Pokemon. He's always in playoff contention. Yeah. And if we're going to be honest, he's the number 2 team in draft.
I could see him even picking that up and not even bringing it, to be honest.
Yeah. I can see him dropping it for something else, right? Might be one of the, if you guys look at the waiver focus, might be one of those waiver pickups. Honestly, I think Machamp would be a great pickup for him. I think Galvantula would even be a greater one. It just depends. Actually, probably not Galvantula, because you wouldn't want to do sticky webs. Yeah. And you kind of want to keep the speed. Yeah, there's a whole thing to it. But we'll see how Goldenrod really reacts to that and see if that Pyukumuku pickup for week 1 is going to be good. And if he sticks with Pyukumuku. But we're going to go on to bigger and better things. So me and Phillip talked about the week 1. There's a lot of top-tier teams going against the newbies, right? A lot of new coaches kind of tasting their first MBL matches for the first time, getting the taste of the competition. Mm-hmm. With notable, I think, Brandon Richards going up against Eric Dressler. I'm going up against a new coach in Alex, who was subbed in about a week ago. Philip, I think you're going against
Going
Lex
against Uriah.
Uriah,
Mm-hmm.
who's new. He's played Showdown a lot, but he's relatively new to a league format. You got Eric Pastor. I actually am interested in this. Eric Pastor versus Jared for Violet City. That one will be interesting mainly because Jared he's not dumb. But his draft is definitely not the greatest.
Mm-hmm.
With his first pick being, was it Desnor?
Desnor,
Which isn't a bad pick, but not first round potential. Jeez, especially if you have a Dart Manitan. But that's a whole different story.
Away with waiting.
Yeah, seriously. And then you also have, who else was it? No, Michael's playing Lex. That one will be kind of interesting too. But the one we're going to talk about this week is the game of the week. Blackthorn City FC, coached by Cheyenne Dang, versus Viridian City FC, coached by Chris Tenney. You know what, Philip? I defer to you. Who do you think's going to win? Give me a reason why.
Well, first off, like the reason why I think we chose this as the match is just because these are two people who have already participated in the league before.
Yeah.
Whereas if you look at all the other matches, a lot of them we have a team that's participated before and a person who's not. So those are kind of like, oh, the person who's participated before will probably win. Whereas this, it's like, And I think both of these people finished in similar spots last season.
They did, yeah.
So it's kind of tough. And honestly, looking at both their teams, they both have solid teams too. It's kind of tough looking at it. Like, I'm not sure who's going to beat who. I think if I had to pick, so I've even talking like later on, I was talking with Eric after like who we think has good teams. I think Cheyenne's team's really good. I don't know, like her first 5 picks or so are like solid. I really like them. Even Galissapod's, I'd even go 6 picks. I think her last 3 are not as strong, but I mean overall I like her team a lot. So I think I'm gonna go with Blackthorn as the winner. But it's gonna be close. But yeah.
You guys know me. I love Blackthorn's draft. I think Gigalith is a underrated rock type that people sleep on, given it's the massive amount of bulk. I think Mimikyu's always annoying to deal with. She actually has a well-bred Togekiss, which is scary because most people, because of the whole friendship thing, are going to go the extra length for a Togekiss. You have a perfect Dragapult. You have a Rotom Wash. Galissapod, I mean, stat-wise, it's crazy. Shuckle is a tank with Stealth Rocks and a couple other stuff. Like, it's nutty. Knows Rapid Spin. Shiftry's kind of a weird knockoff type deal with Sucker Punch, I think. I'm not really sure. And then Morpeko is that weird, like, hey, she drafted him for a gag. But you also kind of have Aura Wheel, which is kind of insane when you think about it. Boost your speed each time. And it's a Dark-type move. And Morpeko is kind of a weird, funky pick that literally, if I'm going up against, I'm not thinking of Morpeko. So if it comes up,
it's weird.
It's a very weird pick. Here's my thing. Even though I think Cheyenne's team is better overall for this league setting, and I think she may potentially do better overall, look at the typings on her team. Now look at Chris's typings. Okay? Here's what I'm talking about. Your Thunderwave hacks crap with Togekiss ain't going to happen when half your team's ground. Right? It's just not going to happen. Right? Rotom Wash will have a field day. Yes, I'll give you that. But if you...
Too.
Right? Angulospod. But if you work around those two things in Dreadnought, Duraludon, and Flapple, even Pincurchin, which is electric type...
I don't know. Because you even look at Dragapult. Dragapult gets Surf. I don't know if you knew that, but...
I did not. That's like actually a really good thing.
Dragapult gets Surf. He's got a crazy move pool. So I don't know necessarily.
Here's my thing. Here's the reason why I think Chris may have the upper advantage. May. Okay? I'm going to give you a hot take, bruh. Mold Breaker, Excadrill with Iron Head.
Well, no. I mean, I agree.
Togekiss is gone. Mimikyu is gone. Gigalith is gone. Shuckle is gone. Shiftry, gone.
That is one thing. Yeah, I agree. But, I mean, also, I'm just talking about all the water moves this team gets. But also, you have Gigalith as a rock type for if he ends up using a Powdon in a sand team. And that also puts him special defense. I just think there's a lot of different things and Shuckle too is a rock type as well.
We also have a Araquanid on Viridian City.
I'm talking about sand though.
No, I know, but even if he opts not to,
no,
I mean, that's still something that can wall it out.
I think there's a lot that her team is more adaptable. I understand like Excadrill obviously does a lot, but I think that's one Pokemon, whereas she's got a lot of Pokemon that work very well against his team.
Okay, I can kind of see that. I think both teams have decent synergy. But again, to your point, I think Cheyenne has that.
Togekiss will have trouble, though, because Excadrill and Duraludon. So
Yeah.
I do see that.
Yeah.
So that's going to be tough. But, I mean, she doesn't have to bring it necessarily.
Yeah, but I mean, it's kind of hard. I mean, I get the whole ground situation. I get
It's tough
that.
because I think her last 3 picks were not fantastic, in my opinion.
It doesn't help the Togekiss. Like, Togekiss doesn't have any real support going into this, given the fact that half his team is ground. So Stealth Rock's really aren't going to do anything from Gigalith, right?
Right, yeah.
You kind of need that extra fighting type.
Maybe.
Yeah. Galissapod could do first impression and run some fighting moves. That could be sick. Dragapult with Surf would be decent, right? But I think you would have to rely a lot on those 2 Mons or a lot of other Mons similar to that in order for Togekiss to really have a setting. Because realistically, Togekiss is coming in on Reuniclus to kind of try to see if they can kind of phase stuff out. Togekiss is going to come in on probably...
Dragapult also gets Scald.
It does?
Yeah. Oh my god. Looking at Scald or Surf, so you could do either one. So
I would do
Scald, yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
But, I mean, it's just the move pool on this thing is just crazy. It can Thunder, Thunderbolt, Will-O-Wisp.
I guess it all depends on how she runs that Dragapult.
Yeah, Infant.
Do you think she'll run it physical or special?
I don't know. Probably special for him versus him.
I would say so. Yeah.
It just works better special.
Now, again, Regenerator Reuniclus.
Yeah.
Is stupid dumb.
I don't know if Chris will do this, but I mean, looking at his team, it's not super fast. He could do Trick Room as well. And that would change the tides of things.
I never even thought about that. Yeah.
Because think about it. I mean, you got Hippowdon and Gastrodon are both really slow. Reuniclus is slow. Duraludon's like 8. I think he's 80 base speed.
But you can also run him with heavy metal, which makes him heavier. So if you were
I don't think that affects speed though.
No, it doesn't affect speed. But if you're running like heavy based moves,
right?
I mean, you got that damage output.
How fast is this thing? I think
Duraludon's like.
I think he's actually faster than I thought he was. Let me see.
No, Duraludon's like 80 speed, dude.
Well, I said 80, but I think he's faster than that, actually.
I think he's 90?
Let me see. I don't know. I'm looking. He's 85. Okay.
Okay. Well, that's still faster than what we...
If you had minus speed nature, I mean, you could run a Trick Room set with him, for sure.
You can. You can also... I mean, I still think the presence of having Excadrill and Duraludon...
under Trick Room would be very...
Yeah.
Very good, too.
Okay, so we talked about this before, but even the Pincurchin, like, the heck is that going to do here? I'm going to look this up.
Yeah, I don't even know what that thing does.
Because, okay, so it knows Lightning Rod, so that's kind of cool as an ability. It knows Electric Surge, so if it gets hit, it essentially sets up that. It knows there's an offensive support set, which is Spikes, Discharge, Toxic Spikes, and Memento.
It's just... It looks like it's more of just a hazard setter. I think it, to be honest with you, it's kind of a weird pick for Chris.
It's a physical mon?
Well, yeah, but it's not really super like meant for attacking. But I think it's a weird pick for his team because, so like you said, it's got Lightning Rod, but his team is mostly ground. So there's not going to be a lot of people using electric moves on him. Yeah. But it may have been one of those things where he just wanted something to set up hazards, and that was kind of what was
true.
There.
Now
so I can see that, but I think it's a weird pick for his team. It doesn't synergize super well with his team, I don't think.
Question: if he runs Trick Room and he does Discharge or Thunder Wave on Cheyenne's team to Dragapult, Togekiss, your Mimikyu slows everything down, comes out of Trick Room, has Duraludon and Excadrill in the back.
If he does Trick Room and slows the other team down?
So if he runs like Para.
Yeah, but then you wouldn't want to do Trick Room.
No, I'm saying near the very... I guess you're right. No, yeah.
I would.
I'm trying to think of ways like Pincurchin would work in that team setting, and it's kind of...
If
you're right,
brought it, I think it would be just a hazard setter. I mean, it gets...
You're...
A hazard setter with like a few attacks. Like, it's not got a terrible attack stat, so it can probably get some hits off.
So how do you think Chris would win this? Because right now you've kind of swayed me to Blackthorn.
Well, I think so. Like you said, he's got Excadrill, which takes out a number of the things on our team.
Yeah.
So I think going into it, you're bringing Excadrill. If you can find a way to take out the things that counter Excadrill and keep Excadrill in the back alive toward the end, I think that's the way you win. Personally.
Do you choice scarf it or do you just?
I wouldn't. No, I wouldn't necessarily. I think you just go because I don't think you need to, because if you have Hippowdon who's going to bring up Sand, I would just run Sand Rush. That's my opinion. Because then you have the versatility. Because I
guess you're right. Never really thought about that.
But I think Excadrill is your win condition if you're Chris, keeping him healthy, because that's going to take out a lot of her first round picks.
Oh, I didn't even realize this. Sandstorm does buff rock type special defense,
that's what I'm saying.
Which is great for Dreadnought. But you're talking about Gigalith, already is.
She's got
dude, I didn't even think about that. And Shuckle.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
She's got some ways to deal with his team, and I think it works better overall. I think Chris could still do it, but it's going to be interesting how that plays out. Chris definitely makes Togekiss pretty much worthless. Not worthless, but like it can't.
I think it eliminates.
Really can't do much.
I think it eliminates Togekiss from a lot of this. So if you take, but I don't think she. Like even just looking at it, I think Rotom Wash puts in so much work right now.
Oh yeah, Rotom Wash is coming 100%.
So Golisopod, Gigalith maybe.
I would bring Gigalith personally.
I'm definitely bringing Golisopod and Dragapult.
Yeah,
I'd probably run Mimikyu. I honestly would, just to kind of harass.
It's got the disguise. So I mean, even though it does get wrecked by Excadrill, and that's the thing is you can come in on certain things like Reuniclus, where Reuniclus can't touch Mimikyu at all.
Well, I don't think it wants to touch it. I really don't. Even with Regenerator, I don't think it wants to do that.
Still, and he's got Dragon type like Flapple and Duraludon. So I mean, there's still a reason to bring it for sure.
Yeah,
Whereas Duraludon and Mimikyu is kind of a weird matchup because it's Dragon type, but it's also Steel type. So it's like, who wins that? I don't really know.
I think if Disguise has not been broken,
Duraludon, I think. Because, Fairy against Steel, so she doesn't even really have a super effective move. It's just Steel. I don't know. That's an interesting match. It's kind of a stalemate there, but yeah.
Now, question. So I feel like we're both kind of leaning more towards Cheyenne. Now, when we look at conferences, right? Not division, conferences, Johto and Kanto. Where do you think Cheyenne really falls in the Johto conference? Like, if you're trying to forecast the end of the season going into playoffs.
So Michael, Cheyenne, Eric,
and myself.
That's only 4.
You also have Brandon Richards and Jared.
So I think no shade on anyone. I think she'll finish above Brandon and Jared for sure. And then you said Michael, Eric, you, and Michael, Eric, and you after that.
Yeah.
I think Michael and Cheyenne will be fighting for a spot. That's where I think she'll fall.
Ooh, okay. What about Chris? That's all you, dude.
That's an R. So
that's on you.
Eric, me.
Eric Dressler.
Eric Dressler. Sorry, me.
Uriah.
Chris, Uriah.
Lex, and Alex.
So personally, just based on experience, I think he would finish above Uriah, Lex, and Alex.
I would agree.
And then you've got me, Eric, and Chris. And Uriah. I think Uriah's
team's not bad.
It seems like he has the ability to possibly upset Chris, but I would lean with Chris. So I guess I would put Chris, Uriah kind of on this weird, like maybe it could go either way, but I would side Chris. And then I would have me and Eric above Chris.
So hot take. I agree with you on the Chris thing. In regards to Uriah. I think Uriah and Chris are going to have that kind of duke out moment. I think Chris's ability to understand the game far more than Uriah is going to help him out.
Sure.
Especially because I don't think Uriah's really dealt with a weather team, because even during scrimmages.
No, I agree. I would quite heavily put Chris above Uriah, I think.
I would agree.
But I don't think it's impossible. I think Uriah.
No, I don't think it's impossible either. And I think it all depends on whether or not, because this is how I look at it. I think Chris has put in a little bit more time, realistically.
Sure.
And so, even from a base IV standpoint, Chris. Hot take number 2. Johto Conference. Cheyenne, at minimum, is 3rd place. At minimum. Here's why.
Pretty much what I said.
Here's why. I think she goes farther, right? So, kind of throwing shade at myself, right? I might know the matchup's good. I might have more experience. Here's the difference. I think her team's better.
I can see that.
I think her
honestly think
team
she's got
is better.
One of the better teams in the league.
I think her team has the ability to handle itself far more than I do. Case in point, when we talked about this, Golisopod at round 6, better pick than Orbeetle and Charizard, better than Lapras, right? Because of its bug typing and what it can do, probably would take out Gardevoir. So I don't see why Golisopod isn't one. I mean, you have to deal with emergency exit, but I honestly think it's a fight for second. I think the Michael is kind of that dark horse one. I honestly think this is going to be Cheyenne's best year. Yeah, I think it's going to be hard for me to really deal with Togekiss, right? It's going to be excruciatingly hard to deal with Dragapult since I have no special bulk. None, right? I have to go the extra mile for that. And I think Rotom Wash is just a great utility Pokemon against my team as well.
Definitely good.
So especially with like 2 fire types and the ability to kind of withstand Dracozolt, just in the top 3 picks alone of Cheyenne's team, I think she has a better team than me. I'm very much physically oriented.
Balanced, yeah.
I would say it has more synergy than my team, realistically. So that's my hot take. And the reason why I'm saying that is because I can have all the experience in the world, but if I just generally have bad mons, if you have 2 people who've played Pokemon their entire life, and they have generally and I just generally have bad mons, it's not gonna be a thing. If I get tagged by Dragapult with Darmanitan, I can Choice Scarf that all day, but Dragapult's got the speed on me. So 1 fire move, gone. And it's just, even you run it physical, I mean, it doesn't matter. Draco Meteor, I'm dead. So that's my hot take. So all in all, I think we both kind of agreed that week 1 we're going to lean more towards Cheyenne. Phillip's going to lean harder to Cheyenne. I'm still kind of in the middle.
Right. I
can see where Chris can definitely win this match. And then overall for the season, since we're kind of trying to find a little bit more time to talk, I think Cheyenne's going to be number 2, around that number 2 range for Johto. Phillip's saying 3, and then we both agree that Chris
3 or 4
is a solid 3.
Give Michael a bone, throw him a bone. I think he's got a good team.
His team's
I like
fast.
his team too. That's why I'm saying that.
That's good. So that is episode number 2 of the Blitz. Again, I'm joined with Phillip Shook here, coach of the Cinnabar Island FC team. And this is your host, Nathaniel Shook, part of Critique. Guys, I cannot wait to share these moments with you this week as we begin our matches for week 1. Keep on the lookout online on YouTube as we will premiere some videos of some of these online matches following 3 teams specifically in Critique City, Cinnabar Island, and Goldenrod FC. You'll be able to see some of their matches periodically throughout the season as we make our way to the playoffs. Guys, I'm so happy you guys were able to tune in, and we'll catch you on the flip side. Peace.